Myanmar's ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi was given an additional prison term of 6 years by a court in a military rule that has convicted her of corruption charges on Monday.
The trial was held behind closed doors with no access for media nor the public, and her lawyers were forbidden by a gag order from revealing information about the proceedings. In the 4 corruption cases decided on Monday, Suu Kyi was alleged to have abused her position to rent public land at below market prices and to have built a residence with donations meant for charitable purposes. She received sentences of 3 years for each of the 4 counts, but the sentences for 3 of them will be served non-concurrently, giving her a total of 6 more years in prison. She denied all the charges, and her lawyers are expected to appeal. She already had been sentenced to 11 years in prison on sedition, corruption, and other charges at earlier trials after the military ousted her elected government and detained her in February 2021. Malaysia's top court on Monday began hearing a final appeal by former Prime Minister Najib Razak to toss out his graft conviction linked to the massive looting of the 1MDB state fund.
He would become Malaysia's first former Prime Minister to be imprisoned if his case fails. Najib has reiterated his innocence and has been out on bail pending his appeals. He was sentenced to 12 years in jail by a high court in 2020 after being found guilty of abuse of power, criminal breach of trust, and money laundering for illegally receiving 42 million ringgit from SRC International, which is a former unit of 1MDB. The Court of Appeal upheld the conviction and sentence in December, describing the case as a, quote, national embarrassment, unquote. His last resort, the federal court, is scheduled to hear the case until August 26th. Najib brought a new team of lawyers for his final appeal. His defense team is trying to introduce new evidence, which would spark a retrial, citing conflict of interest by the High Court judge who convicted Najib. 1MDB was a development fund Najib set up shortly after taking power in 2009. Investigators allege at least $4.5 billion was stolen from the fund and laundered by Najib's associates.